Hey, OutKick right now. Don't at me. Biden, too old? I think so. Trump raising a ton of money. Jonathan Taylor, countdown to the deadline. Don't at me starts right now. Hey, welcome to Don't At Me. I am your host, Dan Dakich. Let's get right into it. The judge, I think all these guys are crooked. The judge has set former President Donald Trump's trial date for the shenanigans in January 6th for, listen to this, March 4th, which ironically is the day before Super Tuesday. That's right. The judge says, hey, Trumpy, you're going to get a 2-week extension, and we're going to put it right before Super Tuesday. You go, Democrats. See, this is what I've been saying the entire time. You can have a better candidate, which you do. You got the world's worst candidates on the other side, and I am going to include Kamala Harris in that. We'll get into that in a minute. But Donald Trump and the good folks of the DOJ are brawling. And the DOJ is going to win. The DOJ is going to win every time because we have seen the DOJ is completely in the pocket of the political rival of Donald Trump. And who might that be? Well, that's Jolton Joe Biden. So March 4th is the date, and Trump will have to stand trial. That'll be an interesting deal. I think Trump will probably win by a gazillion unless something nefarious happens. I thought yesterday what was interesting on the show was Burgess Owens, who is the great representative from Utah, said basically discarded. He basically said, yeah, no. Not even worried about Trump being in jail. Not even worried about Trump being convicted. Not even worried about Trump being ineligible to be the president of the United States, as Burgess gave his endorsement to Donald Trump. I think this is fascinating. I think what we are seeing right now, and we will see it more, and this will backfire more and more and more and more and more, is a banana republic led by an idiot, led by an old senile goon. And that goon, of course, is Joe Biden. Now, while all of this is going on, Donald Trump continues to rake in the cash. Donald Trump and his mugshot, ladies and gentlemen, just raised $7 million in fundraising. That's right, the mugshot. I told you this the other day. Look, Donald Trump doesn't do anything half-baked. Donald Trump does everything, I think, other than spontaneous and impromptu speeches, with a lot of foresight. And I guarantee you Donald Trump and his guys, girls, whomever, said, all right, what kind of mugshot do we want? Do we want a smiling? What do we want? So they gave him the mugshot that America fell in love with. They gave him the mugshot that the Democrats are calling a deranged man. They gave him the mugshot that African Americans all over the country said, hey, we can relate to this. We can relate to this. So there you go. On Friday alone, it pulled in $4.18 million, the most lucrative day so far. I guess we're supposed to say Politico did that, but nobody ever gives me credit for breaking all the Colts, Pacers, IU basketball, and football news, so I am reluctant to give anybody credit. I give Nick credit. Nick gets the credit for that. Screw Politico. They were just making stuff up anyway. A new poll revealed exactly what we all know. Sit there, sit back. Somebody asks you right now, just close your eyes with me. Somebody says, hey, do you think do you think Joe Biden is too old to be effective for 4 more years? Now, I got to tell you, he's not effective to be 1 more day. There's nothing effective about him. I'm going to put in Obama along with Jolton Joe Biden. Never underestimate the ability of Obama or Joe Biden to F things up, and that's when these clowns were young. That's when these guys were young. 77%, I don't know who the other 23% are, said Biden is too old to be effective for 4 more years. 89% of Republican Democrats are more supportive of his 2024 bid. The world is whacked out. Look, here's the deal. When you see this guy, you know he's just too old. You know he doesn't know where he is. You know he's propped up. You know he's able to go on vacation and it's over. He doesn't even care. Nobody in the real world, including me, I can't tell you the last time I took a real vacation where I took a week off. Can't tell you. This dude does it like it's his job, and apparently it is because, well, he's that insignificant. If you are one of the 23% that thinks Joe Biden is not too old, then you're an idiot. I mean, there's nothing I can tell you. I mean, you're not paying attention. Or you are a member of the Biden crime family in some way, shape, or form. Because there's no way you can sit there and say that this guy is anything but a puppet. There's no way you can sit there and say in 4 more years this guy will be mush. And the scariest thing about it, of course, well, is that Kamala Harris sits right there. Jolting Joe Biden, you see that left hand right there? That left hand tried to slip around and do a little cop a feel on Eva Longoria. Now, there's nothing wrong in Joe Biden's mind with copping a feel. That's been going on for a long time. But you know you're senile when you're 80 years old and you're the president of the United States and your every move is going to be scrutinized, but you still think it's okay to cop a feel on Eva Longoria. You see what I'm saying here? Look, you're some senator. You're in the back hall. Eva Longoria gives you a hug. Jolting Joe Biden's been copping a feel forever. Watch Veep. They'll tell you what really goes on. But anyway, so Jolting Joe Biden is that is all you need to know. I remember when we showed the cop a feel by Eva Longoria. I'm like, that's just a senile dude thinking he's back in his 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s or 70s doing what Joe Biden's always done, I assume, cop a feel. I don't think he just copped the feel for the first time. And hey, that's who he is. That shows you that man is too old. All right, I'm a fan of Slim Shady, Eminem, kinda. The music, the moment you want, I get it. You know, you do that, that's fine. That's his song that I really liked. I turned it up, I would crank it up. And then it would make me sad because I figured my one shot at being a head coach was going down the tubes because I was playing football players, walk-ons, because everybody got hurt. But I digress. That's my introduction to Slim Shady. Now, Slim Shady is one of these fake tough guys. And I get it. Look, Slim Shady, we all saw 8 Mile or whatever the hell it was called. Great rapper. Great wordsmith, can spin the caca. He stands in front of audiences, tough audience, brutal audience, and stared them down, rapped them down, and it was all good. But then I saw him acting like a freaking complete Joe Biden younger clone when he was with Herb Street and I think Musburger in the booth of an ESPN college football game, and I'm like, this dude's whacked out. This dude has become the vision of the solitary rock star / now rapper. Well, Eminem doesn't like karaoke. The other day, our guy, and he is our guy, Vivek Ramaswamy, he was rapping, yo. He was putting down them beats, yo. And he did a really good job on the stage of the song that I just said. Well, Eminem doesn't like it. Eminem doesn't like it. He sent a cease and desist letter to Vivek Ramaswamy because he don't like karaoke. Look, we can't even play it. Oh, look at that noted tough guy. We can't even play it here on our show because, well, there are copyright laws, and I probably just got us taken off YouTube for rapping 2 sentences or 6 words. I don't know. But this was pretty good by Ramaswamy. In fact, this was really good by Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy, the more you see him, the more you like him. The more you see Eminem, you just wish he'd kind of go away. Although I did also like that song that he did with Rihanna about burning the bed or whatever. I thought that was pretty good. It was catchy. You know, it was like Dick Clark in American Bandstand back in the day. Hey, the kids like it and you can dance to it. But hey, you woke crybaby. Sit down, Eminem. No one's given a rat's ass about you since I don't even know. That fake tough guy act is over. Morph into OG rapper guy. Tone Loc rapper guy. You know what I'm saying? Go away, don't be a little batch, and then come back, and maybe you'll get on the Super Bowl. You'll be the first act of 10. You'll be the only white guy. It'll be good. No problem. I'm afraid to even sing it because I did like the song. I don't know. But when Eminem stood there in a hoodie with what's-his-face, Musburger and Herb Street, I'm like, this guy's an idiot. And I'm all in on idiots. I am. I'm all completely in on these guys being idiots. Get your gold chain, get your little dad bod, and get the hell out of my life. I tell you who's jumping into our life. Let's talk some football. C.J. Stroud, here's a shocker. Second pick in the draft, C.J. Stroud is going to be the starting quarterback of the Houston Texans. They talk about his accuracy. He is the anti-Anthony Richardson here in the great city of Indianapolis. If you can't beat out Davis Mills, then you shouldn't have been picked. And I got to tell you, when you pick these guys first, second, third, fourth, fifth, they're going to be starters. So this is no great surprise. What is interesting is this. The Houston Texans are considered to be the worst team in the AFC South, the Colts division. So they don't get to play against the worst team in the AFC South, which makes the AFC South a little more difficult. But it's still a stink division. Anthony Richardson, the Colts quarterback, just went 6 of 17 the other day, and everybody thinks he's really good. Anthony Richardson today came out and said, well, I know people want me to win the Super Bowl. No, we just want you to complete 50% of your passes, son. But anyway, C.J. Stroud doesn't get to play the worst team in the worst division, his. So here's the deal. How long is this going to last? Do they have an offensive line? He's not that mobile. They do have a competent backup. But what is the ceiling for these young guys continues to be in my brain. What is the ceiling? What does C.J. Stroud have to do? What does Anthony Richardson have to do? What does Bryce Young have to do to make this a successful rookie season? You know, there have been rookies that have been really good. There have been some that have been bad. Peyton Manning, horrible. But it's a different world right now. You know, when Peyton Manning came out, Peyton Manning was more polished than any other quarterback. Everybody uses Peyton Manning, right? Peyton Manning Part 2 in Indianapolis took a 2-4 team, Andrew Luck, and made it 11-6 with great draft choice by my guy Ryan Griggs. Great draft choice. Vic Ballard was terrific. T.Y. Hilton, fantastic. So it wasn't just all luck. Now you've got this group of quarterbacks. We didn't see it with Mahomes, right? We didn't. Mahomes had to sit behind and wait. We did somewhat see it with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was pretty good. I think he was way overrated, but he was pretty good with the Texans. So what's the ceiling? If the Colts win 7 games, I feel like everybody would say, what a great year, because I'm guessing if the Colts or the Texans win 7 games, first it would hit the over for both, but also it would mean that the quarterback played pretty well. Because neither team has anything you can hang your hat on. It's going to be interesting. Same thing with Carolina. Bryce Young, these 3 quarterbacks went to bad teams. Bryce Young, unfortunately for him, is coached by one of the worst coaches in the NFL, but he's a Mensa, so everybody gives him a pass, that being Frank Reich. This is interesting to me. This is very, very interesting. I want to see what the ceiling is because you know and I know, African-American quarterback, white media, they're not going to get criticized other than on this show. Because we judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. But it's fascinating what the real ceiling is. What is good? I don't have an answer yet. Certainly 7 wins is good. And I got to tell you, I ain't following number 7. See this picture? I'm following 53. I looks like I'm following 88, but geez, come on, give me a fake. Never sit like this as an athlete. I remember there was a kid named Kyle Tabor. I coached him at Indiana. He would always stand on the sidelines like this. I'm like, dude, stand like a man. Stand like a damn man. 10, standing like a man. 53, standing like a real man. I ain't messing with him. 88, standing like a man. The guy top right, standing like a man. This quarterback is not standing like a man. I'm not following him until he shows me that he's a damn man. Period. Period. That's how I roll. You may roll different. Everybody's different. This is sickening. The video I'm going to show you right now is absolutely sickening. Now, nobody in the history of college basketball was harder on players than me. Nobody. Insane. You thought Urban Meyer and that, no. But I never touched a player. And I told him, I said, look, I believe you can kick the living hell out of me. You know, coaches are fake tough guys. We listen to Nick Saban talk about integrity and all this kind of stuff, all the while he's trying to flip 18-year-olds from their commitment to another school. There's nothing that college coaches have. Maybe the line coach. But basketball is the worst. Basketball, the coaches, a lot of guys weren't even tough when they played. I played against them. A lot of them couldn't play because they weren't tough enough. Long story short, the video I'm showing you right now is a high school in Georgia. An assistant coach here, well, you'll see what he does. This is sickening to me. Let's show it. Watch this guy right there. Look at this. He punches a high school kid in the stomach. Now, he's such a chicken blank that he tries to hide it. He turns his shoulder, and he punches this kid right in the stomach. See, if you want to square off, you know your career's over, and you want to square off, that's one thing. But a kid's just standing there, and this idiot punches him. I don't even give a damn. I think this coach should be fired. I think this coach should be banned. I don't think this coach should ever coach anybody again. This coach should be banned from the stadium. This coach has no business being around anybody. If that's his reaction to punching a guy in the stomach because he made a bad football, boom, this guy should never coach anything again. I wouldn't hire this guy to do anything. And then he bows up on some little kid. Look at him right here. Then he's going to get all... Coaches are idiots. We got one in Indianapolis, Reggie Wayne. This guy don't even coach. This guy, Reggie Wayne, this guy's worried about appearances. But I'm not comparing Reggie Wayne to this. Reggie Wayne at least could play. I guarantee you the guy doing the punching couldn't play dead. I guarantee you the guy doing the punching is one of these fake mentor idiots. This is such crap, it disgusts me. Get this guy out of here. Put his ass in jail. Yeah, he was arrested. He should be arrested. I don't know how much jail time a guy should do. I mean, what are you going to do? I'm not, you get in a bar fight. I don't think everybody should go to jail. You do this, though, I think this is abuse. I think this guy should do some time. This guy should have to pay a significant price. This is total, complete crap. I hate these things. I hate it. I hate it because coaches are full of shit. I remember when Kevin Stallings, the coach at Vanderbilt, yelled at one of his players, "I'll kill you," because he didn't shake hands. I'm like, Kevin Stallings, I played against him. He was soft at 6'5", 220. He was a little point guard dribbling around. And now all of a sudden you get to be a coach and you're tough. Guy's giving me a headache. This is the modern day world that we live in. The modern day world that we live in is we must connect. Matthew Stafford and his wife are having problems connecting with the younger players. They're having problems. He doesn't know how to connect. Doesn't want to be called sir. You know what? These guys are the same as Brittany Mahomes. I'm tired of the Staffords. I like Stafford. I've said this before. Stafford came here. He threw the ball better than Andrew Luck, and it wasn't close. I'm like, whoa. Stafford wins the Super Bowl. And then here's why I don't like Stafford. And I'll never like Stafford. I don't have respect for Stafford. I don't know. I should have told the guys to cue it up. I forgot. But Stafford, when a woman fell on a stage, he just looked at her and walked away. Now, his wife went and picked her up. His wife's good people. But this clown is just an entitled football player. But I'll give him this. If you're the quarterback and you see and you're watching Hard Knocks and you see everybody kind of gravitating to Aaron Rodgers, and he's like the grand poobah, he's like the godfather, the den mother, whatever you want to call him. Matthew Stafford hasn't had that yet. Of course, he's not Aaron Rodgers, but that's okay. He's won a Super Bowl. And he's having problems connecting. That's modern football dilemma. I was reading this story, and I thought to myself, you know how the best way to connect with somebody is? Show them. Go be great. Don't sit there like a slug. Go be great. Be the first in, first out. All the crap that football coaches say they can be. And by the way, let me tell you about that first in the building and first out. You ready? There's a saying in coaching. If you make them believe you get to work at 5 a.m., you can sleep till noon. That's a big saying in coaching. What are you going to do? Matthew Stafford, good for you. Speaking of quarterbacks, I don't know, Jordan Love. Jordan Love is talking. Jordan Love is balling. And I say that very facetiously. Let me give you Jordan Love statistics because we're going to talk about Jordan Love. 86.7% pro football focus grade. 21 of 33. 193 yards. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Here's what I'm rooting for. All right? I don't care about the Packers. I don't care about these stats. But I've really gotten to dislike Aaron Rodgers. When he couldn't chug a beer at a Milwaukee Bucks basketball game, I'm like, He seems above it all, which I like, but he seems too above it all. So I'm rooting against him. All right? Take that out of it. That impacts Jordan Love. Here's why I'm rooting for Jordan Love. Every slap media guy, everyone, criticize, including me, criticize quarterbacks, except I'm not a slap, criticizes quarterbacks for not being great in their first year. When you talk to real NFL guys, I mean real ones, not these fake guys that you see on TV, not these frauds. No, I'm talking about real NFL guys, GMs, coaches, guys like Mike Lombardi that have been in the trenches. They will tell you that sitting a few years and learning to be a quarterback ain't bad business for you. And that's why I'm rooting for Jordan Love. Jordan Love, to me, is the guy, he's the anti-modern quarterback because he is following in the footsteps of Aaron Rodgers, of Patrick Mahomes, by having to wait his turn, learn, and that's why I'm rooting for him. I'm more of a Bears fan, if you're going to say I'm a Colts fan, than a Bears fan. So I don't really ever root for Green Bay. I think the colors are dull. I think the team always seems to be dull. I did like Aaron Rodgers late with the ball against the Cowboys, on that 4:20 game when it's 7 o'clock and it's dark outside. I did like that. But I'm rooting for this guy, Jordan Love, because I want him to show people that it still works. Because it makes sense to me as a coach. You sit, you learn, particularly behind a guy like Rodgers. And I've had enough of Rodgers. I just have. I'm watching. He's smug. All right, everybody, including us, including Armando and including us, is all in on this. All in on, you know what? There is a deadline for Jonathan Taylor, and that deadline is coming soon. That deadline is popping, and that deadline may even be today. There's no deadline. There ain't no deadline. To quote my brother, ain't no deadline. There ain't no deadline. There ain't no deadline. Money talks, Bolshevik walks. And let me explain. The deadline's supposedly today. Everyone's saying it, all right? Everyone's saying it. Well, let me explain this to you. Tomorrow, the next day, Saturday, Sunday, whenever, if Jimmy Irsay comes to the rep of Jonathan Taylor and says, all right, I'm giving you 5 years, $60 million. That deadline's gone. I'm going to give you 4 years, 50. Whatever he's going to do. I assume he's going to do it. That deadline is gone. There is no deadline. Now, people can say there's a deadline. People can act like there's a deadline. But in Jonathan Taylor's case, there is zero deadline, period. Money talks, BS walks. It don't matter when the Colts come or if they come. But if they do come with 5 for 60, or they do come for 3 for 36, whatever it is, that'll be discussed. Jonathan Taylor will have to make a decision, and whatever media guys think or Jimmy Irsay puts or any of these guys put on it, that deadline won't matter. Here's the interesting thing. Josh Jacobs went back. Saquon Barkley went back. Now Saquon Barkley is saying he wants to be a Giant for life. Good strategy. Don't act disgruntled. It is what it is. Get out there and play. There are a lot of people inside the Colts that are saying, he ain't hurt, this guy. He's not hurt. A lot of talk external about the Colts trading him. What do I think will happen? I think the guy's going to play for the Colts. I think they'll come to some type of agreement. I always go to common sense. I do. I always go to common sense, don't you? And common sense dictates that he is going to, ladies and gentlemen, be a Colt and play as a Colt and get some type of 3, 4, 5-year deal sometime here. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. My sources with the Colts tell me this. Hey, Dan, this is a Jimmy Irsay deal. This is a total Jimmy Irsay deal. So we have no idea what's going to happen. And if you know anything about the Colts, you understand what I'm saying. A Jimmy Irsay deal means we don't know. A Chris Ballard deal means it's going to get effed up. A Jimmy Irsay deal could mean it's good. Could mean it's going to get effed up. I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is this. Jonathan Taylor needs to play. Jonathan Taylor is trying, I'm hearing, to get on the PUP list. You get paid on the PUP list. That's crap. Are you a pro or aren't you? It's literally that simple. Hey, kids, gather around. Let me see who's on the YouTube chat. 14-inch dubs. By the way, the YouTube chat has a poll question out. Is Jonathan Taylor worth a first-round pick? All right. I don't know. That's a big question. It's a big, big question. Andy Hughes says, my sources say I'll listen to my body. That's in reference to DeForest Buckner just screwing the Colts. But kids, I want you to gather around. First, I want you to like and subscribe. But I want you to gather around. You want to hear some wise words from a champion? I do. I always like hearing, wait a second, what I do with this. I always like hearing wise words from a champion. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Viktor Hovland, who just pocketed what, 16, 18 mil? Here he is.
I live in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Money goes a long ways there. It's not like I'm spending money out the wazoo every week. I don't need a lot to be happy. I don't need a lot to live within my means. So obviously it's nice for my family to have that protection, and my eventual kids that I'll have in the future. It's nice to have that, but it's not something that drives me.
There you go. I got to tell you something. I've been poor and I've been rich. I mean, relatively, not like FU money rich. I like having more money than I do being poor. Actually, it's interesting. My wife and I talk about this all the time. I like having money. I mean, I don't have a lot, but I used to worry. I'm a worrier. And Viktor Hovland is right. I don't need much. I've always said this. Here's what I need. I need air conditioning, my family, and a king-size bed in any order you want. You make the order. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. You can make whatever order. I don't, whatever you want. You can say, well, Dakich, I can't believe you put them in a different order. Yeah, I did. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That's what I need. If you were going to say to me, money or king-size bed, I'd take king-size bed. Well, you can buy a king-size. Yeah, I know. But if I could only have one, just one, without question, I'm taking a king-size bed. Without question, I am taking air conditioning over money. Those are things I need. You guys may need something else. I don't know what you guys need. Jen Gritty, the patron, I don't know, saint of the YouTube chat, she's the beer czar. Maybe she just needs beer. I don't know. Beer's good. Don't know, but that's all I need. Viktor Hovland, you ain't wrong, but I do like to have money. Enough that I can not have to worry every time for years and years and years and years. When I was an assistant at Indiana, they make over $350,000 now. I made under $50,000. When I went to Bowling Green, coaches, that guy, whoever's at Bowling Green now, is probably making $400,000. I made $73,000. I've never had the big money deal, except this is a good job right here. But I'm just saying, good for Viktor Hovland. Sit around, kids. I can't remember the last time I bought clothes. All right. When we come back, we're going to talk a little MLB, baby. And I'm pissed off. I'm not going to lie. I'm hot. Cubs got blown out yesterday. They got blown out by the Brewers in a must-win game to set the series. They were 4 down. And don't forget Curtis Sliwa. Now, Jeff Frye, long time Major League Baseball player, long time agent, got really criticized, backlash, because he dared criticize Manny Ramirez's kid. Everybody should criticize Manny Ramirez's kid. It's the cool thing to do. We'll be right back.
Welcome into OutKick, the show. I am Clay Travis, your fearless leader. I am going to continue to argue that sports is one of the great unifying forces in all of American life. ESPN is a sinking ship. Democrats are now the party of the white, woke college graduate.
We live in a land of participation trophies.
You gotta lean into the turns. You really gotta lean into the turns.
Very difficult to go back-to-back years in the NFL with the #1 overall pick.
Is it fair for people to be upset with farming?
I've been out of LA long enough to have forgotten that libs, no matter how ridiculous a scenario, are gonna live. What have you seen firsthand of how this has affected you in the plant and your fellow employees? Under Joe Biden, the Taliban has retaken Afghanistan. Putin has invaded Ukraine. So if there was ever a time for freaking aliens to inhabit and conquer Earth, now would be that time.
Man, the level of stupid that sometimes gets on our YouTube chat just gives me a headache. You're born a male, play with males. You're born a female, play with females. Don't at me about it. The American people are being cheated. We, ladies and gentlemen, are being cheated.
There's no doubt in my mind he could have caught the ball in his back pocket if he'd been running. Blowing a lead and losing a game is 100 times more lasting and painful in some clubhouses than losing the game 15-0.
And we were able to see you guys on the ground with your signs supporting. That was huge.
They were saying, oh, it's only 1 or 2. That's rubbish, and we all know that's rubbish. Once those trans-identifying males were able to succeed, it just encouraged others.
I only advertise what I use, and I use DraftKings Sportsbook. I do every night. In fact, I hit a 3-team parlay. Late game parlay is what I like doing with DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, look, if you're a first-time user, football season's coming, and you're like, I got to do this. You don't have to bet billions. Just enjoy yourself. Here's the deal. You deposit as little as $5. $5. And you get $200 in instant bonus bets for free. All you got to do is visit OutKick.com/bets. Now, those bonus bets, they roll in as 8 separate $25 bonus bets, so you got plenty of chances to get it done. I love DraftKings. It is easy to use, and those of you that have watched this show or listened to me on the radio or seen me on ESPN, you know I'm a simpleton, and DraftKings makes it easy. All you got to do is deposit $5, get $200 in bets, and have a great, great time. Hey, look, you got to be 21 or older. Don't use mommy's account. Don't get yourself in trouble. 21 or older, gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Jeff Frye played in the major leagues a long time, and now he's an agent, so that means he has a unique perspective on all things. I'm going to get right into it. I'm listening to all these slaps in the media telling me, hey, look, Ohtani lost this, Ohtani got that, blah, 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 blah. From your perspective, as an agent, what did Ohtani gain? What did he lose? Did he nothing? Where's that guy at as he moves into a potential free agency?
Well, I think with his arm injury, it's nobody can say for sure. I think going into the offseason with, as well as he's been playing offensively and as good as he is on the mound, we're looking at something unprecedented. And I think now with the injury is a lot of question marks as whether or not he'll even be able to pitch next year. And I think that definitely is going to have some influence on his market. I'm not sure he's going to get the $700 million everybody was predicting.
I don't think anybody should get $700 million unless you
I don't either.
Something. I mean, I'm just saying, man. You famously said and caught hell, and I am so in agreement with you. I'm sorry. Technology has ruined baseball. You said it. What did you mean by it?
Well, I think you can just go back to the Astros scandal and look what happened once they started allowing the iPads and things in the dugouts. That it's just human nature to try and find a way to get an edge. And then we saw what happened with the Astros World Series and, the cheating scandal. And now if you look around baseball, you look in a dugout during a game and half the guys are not even watching the game. They're all looking at the iPads at maybe the guy they're getting ready to face or their last at bat. And it just seems like to me that it's taking away from the, using your eyes to to try and develop a game plan of what's going on in the field and watch how these guys pitching your teammate, and just watching the game is what we've always done until recently. And now it's, let's just look at this computer screen and not worry about what my teammate just did, because I'm more worried about my at bat coming up.
Boy, that's interesting. I didn't think of it from that perspective, and you're absolutely right. I mean, look, I understand bottom of the ninth, guys might be on the top step of the dugout, but really, you're right, because every time I look in a dugout, a guy has a whatever at bat, makes an out. He's not sitting up there rooting the next guy. He's sitting on the bench, and he's looking at his at bat. Let me go another direction with you, and I know I'm wrong about this, but when I watch a baseball game, and I'm not an old guy that says, well, I don't care about exit velocity and all that stuff. But God dang, man, it's too much. Every time I watch a game, it's all I hear about is, if announcers are going to use that stuff, don't they have to tell us what it means?
Yeah, I think the announcers are being told to promote that stuff, to be honest with you. I have some friends at the MLB Network, and I know there's certain things. They're supposed to only talk positive things about the game. And I actually went to my first Major League Baseball game on Sunday here in Baltimore. First game I've been to this year, and I get free tickets. So then I'll tell you how I feel about the game. And I sat there and watching this game and trying to keep an open mind, and it was just very unentertaining. It's just no prolonged rallies. Nobody's getting on base, moving runners, hit and run. It's just basically everybody's swinging for the downs, trying to hit a homer. And it was pretty friggin' boring, to be honest with you. And Major League Baseball is not supposed to be boring.
Well, people, you're going against what a lot of people are saying, because a lot of people have come on this show and said, hey, look, the shot clock or the pitch clock has helped. Games quicker, games more interesting. What's your take on that?
Well, it's funny. I was sitting next to some guy. I introduced myself to this guy and, asked him point blank, what do you think about the pitch clock? He goes, oh, I like it. I was like, why do you like it? He goes, game's faster. I said, is there more action? He goes, no. I said, so you like it because it's faster. You got 30 minutes less to spend at the ballpark. But the action on the field is not more. You just like it. I said, are you betting? You gambling? He goes, well, yeah, not a lot. I used to do a lot, but just a little bit. So here's this guy sitting there at the game. He's happy because it's only going to last 30 minutes. It's going to be 30 minutes shorter than previously. And he's sitting there on his phone doing bets during the game. And that's really the people that seems like we're trying to target, or Rob Manfred is trying to target the people that, are going to gamble. And I noticed at the beginning of the show, you had DraftKings, and DraftKings is, all over professional sports now. And it's like we're targeting the younger audience that all they want to do is look at their phones and gamble. And I've noticed it with my son, who's a college student. And when I went down to, Dad's weekend, and every one of his roommates gambles on sports. And to me, that's concerning, because I know, we're probably close to the same age. And I know growing up, all the guys that were gamblers were the shady guys that we're supposed to try to avoid. And there'd be one or two guys that had a booking business or whatever, and you don't want to cross that guy. So that's a little concerning to me.
Well, I grew up in a town, Gary, Indiana, and my neighbors, the whole family got taken away in a paddy wagon. They were running the gaming in Northwest Indiana, but it's a little different now. I mean, whether people agree with it or disagree with it, it isn't backroom. It isn't at Uncle Snooky's Pizza Place, which is literally where it was when I was growing up on 42nd and Broadway in Gary. We'd go to see Uncle Snooky in the back room, my buddy Jimmy Bistro and I. But anyway, you know what? But here's the deal with it. My concern is not necessarily baseball. It's like tennis and golf, where we have seen people, because they're quiet sports, we've seen people do the Caddyshack thing, right? Noonan, miss it! In the middle, you can have real influence. Baseball, not so much. Big crowd, basketball, football, not. But tennis and certainly golf, you can have influence if you bet on a what's he going to do on this whole bet. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. It happened, I think, not this weekend, but last weekend, where some guy had a $3 bet with his buddy, and, they're drinking beer at the golf tournament, and, he's hoping the guy misses the putt, and he yells out loud. And, it can definitely have an influence. At a Major League Baseball game or NBA or NFL, you can't really hear those guys, but you could definitely see how it could, unruly fans who really don't care could yell some things out like they do at golf tournaments and, potentially mess people up.
Hey, let me go another point with you. When you look at things like, I don't know, showboating, when, that Wander Franklin flipping the ball to himself and all this kind of nonsense. You were critical of Manny Ramirez's son, showboating. Do you think, how do I put this right? Do you think that, you mentioned younger generation, do you think they really want that? Do you think it matters?
I don't know. It just seems like it's being encouraged by Major League Baseball. I honestly, if I had to pinpoint it, I would say because of all the sabermetricians and all the data that have come into the game has become somewhat boring. And so we're trying to encourage the young crowd, like I said before, to be fans of the game. So how are we going to do it? Well, we have to make it exciting somehow. Let's get the players to celebrate on the field. Let's do things, the stuff in the dugouts where they put the costumes on or they push guys through the dugout, in a shopping cart. It's like a fraternity, and I'm watching this going, well, this is supposed to be the highest level of the sport. These are the best players in the world. These guys are supposed to be the ones that when kids watch them, they learn how to behave. And now we see what's happening in Major League dugouts. And this is now has trickled down to high schools, colleges, and now all the way down to little leagues where kids are throwing their bats. And, I'm old school and I always will be that, I always learn to respect my teammate and let my performance on the field do my talking for me. And I think we've gotten away from that.
Oh, there's no doubt. Jeff, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for taking the time with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on. Have a great day.
Yeah, man, that's former Major League Baseball player and current agent Jeff Frye. I'll tell you one thing I'm laughing about is I just thought about it, $700 million for a baseball player. I remember when Glenn Robinson came out of Purdue, and I was at Indiana, and I'm sitting there going, hey, wait a second. He wanted $100 million from the Milwaukee Bucks, and Herb Cole, the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks, said, hey, Glenn, I'll tell you what. You give me $100 million, I'll give you the damn franchise. I thought that was pretty funny. Texting with Sage Steele. Katie, you'll be getting a text from Sage. She's going to join us on Thursday at 10 o'clock. Curtis Sliwa, who is one of my favorite human beings. Now, if you don't know who Curtis Sliwa is, he is the original good guy in New York City. He founded the Guardian Angels, and Curtis running for mayor. He's fantastic. He's coming on. I believe he's coming on, I think right now. Is he not? I think Curtis is coming on at 9:45, and if he is, I'm very happy about this. I'll talk to him anytime. By the way, our favorite city is San Francisco. San Francisco, there is, ladies and gentlemen, a restaurant. Oh, 10 o'clock for Curtis. Thank you, Nick. There is a restaurant. And this restaurant has decided we are not going to serve cops in uniform. We are not going to serve cops in uniform because of social justice reasons. Really? All right. Really? I mean, that's where we're at. Social justice reasons. So they are saying, no, we are not serving cops. And this is this is where the ESPN Cafe is headed for social and racial justice. No cops allowed. That's the confirmed policy of the bakery chain Reams. One of our officers was denied service last weekend because he was in uniform. Reams confirms that they will not serve anyone armed and in uniform. Presumably, that includes members of the United States military. Wow. The cop said, I politely left because I believe police officers and community members should spend more time listening to each other than shouting at each other. But you can't do that when your presence isn't wanted and your money is no good. It's the greatest thing ever. It's the funniest thing ever. Reams, I assume, since it is, I think I've been there, and I think it's really good. I wouldn't go there. You can kiss my ass, Reams. At Reams, we do have a policy to not serve anyone that is armed in a uniform. All officers are welcome to come to our establishment when they are off duty and not armed. They also posted as part of a deep commitment to uplifting social and racial justice in our community. It's a bigoted policy. It's an idiotic policy. It's a ridiculous policy. And as Ryan and Dylan put on there, only in San Francisco. Hey, a recruit did this. Pretty clever by a recruit. A recruit bought a billboard to get Arkansas coach Sam Pittman's attention a couple years ago. Now, Bear McWhorter, a quarterback, is committed to Arkansas. Arkansas gains a commitment from 2026 offensive lineman Bear McWhorter, who put up a billboard in Northwest Arkansas to let Sam Pittman know his high interest in being a Hog. Oh, my God. Players all across the country are screaming and yelling, you can't act interested. You won't get your NIL money. And if you don't get your NIL money, then ours gets lessened. Oh, shut up. So good for Bear. Good for Bear McWhorter. Hey, look, don't be overbearing, but let the coach know. Don't play games with a coach. I tried to play games with Bob Knight. I did. I was committed to Indiana. I was going to take a visit, but I wanted to go on a recruiting trip. Florida invited me. I said, all right, I'll come. Coach Knight said, hey, I'm going to call you Sunday night. We'll put it in the paper. We'll get it done. I said, all right. He didn't call Sunday night. Monday, he called me. Hey, Coach, you mind if I go on a recruiting trip to Florida? He goes, Dan, I don't mind at all. But when you come back, there will not be a scholarship to Indiana. I said, hey, Coach, I'm out. I'm not going to Florida. Well, I'm going to go. What's he talking? Are you crazy? You don't play games with coaches. Good for Bear McWhorter. Hey, everybody said, no, that's the kid I want. Yeah, he is the kid I want if he's any good. I mean, you can go there's a MIC conference here. I don't know. It's called the MIC. That's what they call it. I don't know. That's what they call it. Leave me alone. I don't want a third-team all-MIC conference player here from Indianapolis. I want the good players. And if I got to beat out UCLA and Alabama and Florida, good. All the better. All the better. There's an NBA player named Nicholas Batum. Nicholas Batum is a good player. Every team wants a Nicholas Batum. He's French. He's the French. You don't want to go home, Nicholas Batum, because the French got embarrassed in the FIBA World Cup of basketball by the United States. Look, the French should be used to having their ass whipped. The French? What are you talking about? When you get whipped and you're the French, you're a hero. When you don't participate, when you show cowardice and you're the French, you're a hero. What are you talking about? What's wrong with people? Well, you nuts? The French. I don't know. I'm trying to read this rundown, so it looks like we're going most likely to call out others as racist. Which 5 people are most likely, this is my top 5 for Tuesday. I want you to think about this. Which 5 people do you think are most likely to call out others as racist? Meaning, oh man, he didn't do whatever. He's racist. Oh man. Here's number 5. You ready? Number 5, Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton is the OG of racist. I'm sure Al Sharpton at some point had a purpose. But the Tawana Brawley lying about a rape and a various lying, and he should be in jail because, well, frankly, he hadn't paid taxes ever. But Al Sharpton can be seen staying at every Four Seasons near you, smoking cigars that are $200 Cubans. But he hadn't paid taxes. Al Sharpton's got it figured out. He's the OG of race baiting. Nobody race baits like Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton, you go, man. You go. Like I said, I'm sure Al Sharpton at some point had value. But now his words ring hollow, like all of these people that I'm going to do, because everything that simply happens, we bring the old reverend, the old tax cheat in, the OG. And if Al Sharpton, it used to be if Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson showed up, you had a problem. Now it's like if Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson showed up, you laugh. You go, what, these idiots call everybody racist. I mean, who gives a damn what they think? But OG, you still made a list, Al Sharpton. God bless you. Bomani Jones is number 4. Bomani Jones is very smart. In fact, I kind of like Bomani Jones. I do. I think Bomani Jones has real talent. I think Bomani Jones saw Kaepernick and said, man, I'm going to go with Cap. Excuse my... And Bomani Jones is the original. When in doubt, shout racism. When in doubt, Whitey bad. That's what this guy is. No question about it. Talented. Loved listening to him. I didn't even know who he was. But he had a podcast back in the day. I've actually gone back and forth at it with Bomani Jones. Bomani Jones, we're going back and forth a little bit one time when I was in Vegas on Twitter. I happened to be walking over to a hotel to have dinner, and here's Bomani Jones. He goes, hey, Dan. I go, hey, Bomani. He goes, hey, Dan, just want you to know I like you. I go, I like you too. But then he became like everything's white guy fault. All right, if you want to make it everything white guy fault and you want to be ridiculous about it, don't expect everybody to fall in line. The days of being scared of guys like Bomani Jones calling you racist are long, long gone. And actually everybody on this list. But nobody, and I mean nobody, says Whitey fault as a default than Bomani Jones. Next on our list, Jemele Hill. Jemele Hill has failed at everything, much like Bomani Jones. Jemele Hill, awful author, ridiculous broadcaster. SportsCenter, when she was on, it had nothing to do with getting canceled because of race. It had everything to do with an unlikable human being. Jemele Hill is the social conscious of racism. She called yesterday Nikki Haley a sick racist. What was Nikki Haley's crime? She didn't want Kamala Harris to be president, and she said as much. Well, I got to tell you, 99.99999999999% of people with a usable working brain don't want Kamala Harris not only be the president, don't want to see her, don't want to hear from her, and don't want her anywhere near a nuclear code. The 0.0001 is that woman right there. And Nikki Haley is not an evil racist or a sick racist for not wanting Kamala Harris to be our president. She's a reasonable, rational human being. Because Kamala Harris is a stone idiot that talks in Greek gibberish word salads. That don't make me racist. I'm not even sure Kamala Harris is black. It don't make me a racist. It just makes me somebody that, in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, judges people by the content of their character, not the color of her skin. If she were white, I'd be saying she's an idiot. She's well, I don't even know if she's black. George Bush. When George W. Bush spoke, my head exploded. But good for you, Jemele Hill. Your book was no good. Your shows have been no good. But yes, you did get married, so we're happy for you. We hope you're happy in your personal life. But you got a little forum where you sit there and judge others all the while. You know what you have done? Nothing. All right, next, white liberals. Hey, Whitey is always ready. Always ready. That's a good sign. Always ready to drop a racist tag on other Whitey. Why? Because it makes people like this creature holding the sign feel like, man, you can't call me racist. You can't do it. You cannot do it. You cannot call me racist because I'm holding a sign. I say Whitey bad. Whitey bad. White liberals can't wait. They can't wait. First one to drop the race card wins. It's the Greg Doyle version of the world. First one to lie. First one to say things that are half-truths. First one to spin the truth wins. It's a beautiful world out there. Why did I know we were going to show a woman? You women are out of your freaking minds. You women and you skinny jeans talkers are completely out of your minds with the race stuff. What? You said you didn't like what? You said you didn't like Isaiah Thomas. Racist? What? Racist? What? I don't know. I'm telling you. A lot of debate on whether Joy Taylor is hot. I don't know. But I got to tell you, Jamel Hill, she's horrible. Hey, Dan, how is the white liberal not number one? No, I'm going to tell you who's number one. Number one, and I think he'll forever be number one, Colin Kaepernick. I'll tell you why. Colin Kaepernick, first, I heard him again speaking the other day. He's a I want him to be Jesus. I want him to be this deep-thinking guy. He's as shallow as this lake out here after a drought. Colin Kaepernick called his own mother, the white woman who adopted him, raised him, called her racist. Any OG that can call the mother that raised him, not the father, the mother, the woman that raised him, a racist. Spectacular. I mean, if you can call a mother. So this dude needed adopted. These white people adopted him. This dude goes off, all kind of stuff. Hey, there's crime, I'm taking a knee. Good for all of it, I don't care. But then, because the money started drying up, he had to act like he's making a comeback in football. And, ladies and gentlemen, he had to call his white mother a racist because he had, I don't know what he had. Cornrows, whatever it was, I don't know. You'll always be the OG. Now, you're going to say Michael Orr did the same thing. I don't think so. Michael Orr did not call his mother a racist. Michael Orr, of course, blamed Whitey because Whitey was the one that didn't cut him in on the movie deal. He didn't blame the degenerate father, didn't blame the crackhead mother. It was Whitey. So next time you see somebody called a racist, evaluate it. See if they can be in our top 5. But I'm telling you right now, my top 5 is hard to beat. My top 5, I don't know. I don't know that you can beat it. I really don't. Perkins should have been in the top 5. Who's Perkins? I'm looking here. I want to see. Is Joy Taylor's too insignificant? Maybe she's not. I'm sorry. She's on Fox. She's great. She's awesome. Take that back. King Nuts says, I dare my son to say that. Piss your son off. If you're black and he's got a white mother, he'll say it if you piss him off and he can make some cash out of it. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. What are we talking about here? Give me your 5. Let me know who I missed. I don't think I missed many. I really don't. The white liberal, that's just the way the world works. I mean, the white liberal, come on. Hey, John Mellencamp says with Bill Maher that 1 or 2% of black people in America live better than they did in slavery. All right. Last I looked, Django Unchained, slaves were living in hot boxes. But hey, look, John Mellencamp, you go, man. People are saying Obama. Some people say Joy Reid. You're right. Obama wasn't like that when he needed us. Now, when Obama needed Whitey to get elected, when he was doling out the Obama phones and the media didn't want to cover it, Obama didn't need us. Now Obama doesn't need us, so every white dude is a racist in Obama world. Hey, man, I judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. There you go. Man, this is a good quote. Bill Martin, before we go. Charles Barkley, the difference between being fat and ugly. A fat person can lose weight. An ugly person, always going to be ugly. We'll be right back. One of my favorite human beings. I've never met him. I can't wait to talk to him. Curtis Sliwa joins us next.
Richmond, north of Richmond, is dominating the charts, even knocking Taylor Swift off the top spot over the weekend, and the liberals are losing whatever part of their minds they have left over it. Liberal outlets are labeling the song and its writer and performer, Oliver Anthony, whose real name is Christopher Anthony Lunsford, as right-wing and divisive. Not because he is, but because they can't stand the fact that an average working-class white man wrote a song that strikes to the core of what they are all about. greed, elitism, and arrogance. Let's take a look at these so-called right-wing lyrics, shall we? That's right-wing? Really? Because hasn't the Democratic Party been claiming to be the party of the working man since its inception? It's right-wing to talk about working your ass off for little pay. It's right-wing to talk about the collapsing value of the dollar and how the man, aka the government, wants full control. That's right-wing these days, huh? Or maybe it's this part that's got him all riled up. The part where he sings about minors on an island. Maybe that hits a little too close to home for Democrats and their enablers in the media. Telling, isn't it? And P.S., is it right for hardworking folks to bust their asses so some who don't feel they need to do jack can live off the system and eat junk food all day? Welfare is for those who need a helping hand, not a little Debbie on the couch watching The View. Sorry. Oh, and if the part about homelessness, welfare abuse, and suicide is just for us right-wingers to care about, well, that also says a whole lot about the left wing, doesn't it? Now, these elitists who are turning their noses up at this song don't like this song because, quite frankly, they don't like or care about the people this song is about or the people from all walks of life this song resonates with.
I've told you this before. Curtis Sliwa is one of my favorite human beings. In fact, if you were going to say who's among your favorite human beings that you never met or never talked to, he might be number one because I admire this man. This man saw crap in New York City going way back to the 70s and stood up. He did something. He got the Guardian Angels going. They patrolled the subways. They patrolled the streets. They became, I think, a precursor to anybody else doing anything. And this man has been in the news forever. Curtis, thanks for taking the time, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Oh, thanks for pulling my chain. I needed that this morning. You can keep going on. Read my resume. Keep stroking me.
Yeah. Well, your resume involves like 80 arrests. It happened the other day. What was going on the other day that got you in the can again?
So we're outside of Gracie Mansion. This is where Eric Adams, swagger man with no plan, the mayor, supposedly lives. It's where I should have been because I ran against him, but I'll get him in 2 years. Meantime, he's never there because he says Gracie Mansion is haunted. But in the middle of this craziness, where he's welcoming in all these illegal aliens going, andale, andale, who's your Papa Chulo, who's your daddy, right? And they're all flooding into New York City. He one day at his daily press conference said, my staff suggested that I take in a few migrant families into Gracie Mansion. I think as Generalissimo Eric Adams, I should lead from the front. The very next day, in typical political fashion, all politicians, he did a pivot and shift, and he goes, I can't do it. And actually, reporters said, what do you mean you can't do it? Well, they told me I can't do it. Who told you you can't do it? They said I can't do it. You're the mayor. He didn't want to do it. And then he said it's just symbolism. So we aggressively joined together outside of Gracie Mansion. These were a collection of people that I've led in other parts of New York City to protest migrant shelters, protest the illegal aliens invading into our city. And we wanted to say, hey, Eric Adams, it should be do as I say and as I do. Take some migrant families. But before we could end up sacrificing ourselves over in an act of Gandhian-like civil disobedience, guess who shows up? Guess who's coming to lunch and brunch? Antifa. They're all blacked out. They got the baklavas. They got weapons. They got the umbrellas. And they launch an all-out charge. Now, you know, I'm an old school, Old Testament kind of guy. I don't turn my butt cheek. I don't turn this cheek. You hit me, I'm going to hit you so hard your mother will feel the vibrations. So we stayed in our area, as the police said, as. But once they crossed over the area, all hell broke loose. You've probably seen some of the video. We did not surrender. We did not retreat. The all dressed in black anarchists, Antifa left. But you see, the media, they never call them Antifa. Because remember, you had Joe Biden himself running against them. President Donald Trump said, that's just an ideology. It's not real. Well, in the summer of 2020, when the Guardian Angels were defending stores that were being looted during the shooting, and de Blasio, the mayor at that time, you know, doing puff, puff, pass, ordered them to stand down, they broke my jaw with a claw hammer. I know Antifa. I know how they train. I know what they look. And when they bum rushed us, we resisted. And, man, they went running because, naturally, we are not going to be weak and surrender and fold like a cheap camera. Once they were out of the way, and I might add, the police always, when Antifa shows up, it's like Superman with kryptonite. They just don't know how to handle these guys and gals. Give them a wooden shampoo and a concrete facial, cops. Give them an old-style police beatdown, and they'll understand you can't break the law and attack people indiscriminately. But, oh, no, God forbid we touch a hair on their head. It's unbelievable. So then we had our rally. We had our say, and I sacrificed myself with what turned out to be, might as well have been Jesse James and Ma Barker, two 81-year-old veterans, a woman and a man. Three of us got arrested, civil disobedience, and they photographed and fingerprinted the 81-year-old codgers. Now, I'm pretty old myself. I'm 69, you know, Mr. AARP. I told the cops, I said, you can bust my stones. You can take my photo. You've done that before. You can take my fingerprints. What the hell are you doing to these two 81-year-olds? And they said, you know, you never know. You never know. I said, what, are they doing a Trump to them? Are they doing a Giuliani to them? And this is nonsense. So the war continues, and we're not stopping until the illegal aliens stop coming here and that our Democratic elected officials stop welcoming here by calling it a sanctuary city, sanctuary state. There's no such law. It doesn't exist. We need to stop this.
You know, Eric Adams got called on his bullshit bluff is what he did. He got called, well, a sanctuary city. How would you handle the influx of immigrants were you the mayor?
I would be down at the Port Authority bus terminal. 5 buses a day show up. I would meet and greet them because I'm the mayor of the city of New York. I would say, ladies and gentlemen, and then I would have like 38 different interpreters there because, you know, they're coming from all over the world. Although I haven't seen a Ukrainian yet. Now, you would think, right, true wartime refugee, true asylum seeker. I'm like Diogenes, who was looking for one honest man in Athens. I have the lantern. I'm looking for one freaking Ukrainian. I can't find it. They're coming in from Mauritania, Madagascar. I can't even find that on the map. They're coming from all over the world, and who wouldn't? You get an easy pass right across the border. Next stop, Times Square, right? The gateway to the world. 3 squares a day, iPhone, smartphone, healthcare. You're in a hotel, the Notel, Motel, Holiday Inn Express. No, you're right there, the Paramount Hotel, the Watson Hotel, the Milford Plaza Hotel, and us, the sucker taxpayer expense. So I would be there to show them a little empathy and sympathy. I said, I know you've been pounding the hound for 2 days from the border, Juarez, El Paso, Eagle Pass, Nuevo Laredo to Laredo. So I'm going to let you use the facilities for an hour. Look out the door. Yeah, you can actually take a picture, photobomb it back, and let them know you ain't staying here. We're sending you back to Joe Biden, the National Mall between the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument. They can put up tents there. They can house you there at their expense, but you ain't staying here. Not one of you. Unless you want to go back to your country of origin, start the process again, and do it the way it should be done, like millions of others have done it the legal way, it takes a while. You got to jump through hoops. You got to do your paperwork, and you have to have a sponsor who's going to take responsibility for you. Then I'll be there not only to welcome you, to make sure that if you qualify, you get a job, and I'm going to encourage you to take the test for citizenship, which, by the way, asks such tough questions that an average American could not pass the citizenship test to reapply to be a citizen.
I don't want to take any more tests in my life. I'm 61. I need no more tests. What are the consequences? What's going on in New York? What's the impact of the immigration crisis?
Let me tell you, just from the guys who are the biggest hustlers yet, the Venezuelans, man, they're sharp. They come in here, they roll in numbers. So they're staying at this Roosevelt Hotel, which is at the epicenter of all activity, right next to Grand Central Terminal. The heart of the city of New York. They already got motorbikes, Vestas, scooters. I say they don't even have 2 nickels to rub together. Where'd they get this? They went to all the 2,000 illegal weed shops, and they went to the guys, the Yemenites who own it, because they have a bodega on one side. They go to the landlord. They say, you got empty space. We'll open up a smoke shop, a.k.a. weed shop. So they go to the owner-operator and say, hey, let's make a deal like Monty Hall. If you give us layaway and buy us a motorbike, a Vespa, or an e-bike, electric bike, we'll deliver weed for you. We'll be your Grubhub. And we're not going to ask anything in return at first. We just want a set of wheels. No license, no registrations, no license plate. The cops are like this. They see no evil, hear no evil, do nothing about you. And, man, they set up shop. These guys are hustling out there like there's no tomorrow. Now, the others are going to learn from the Venezuelans, and they're going to learn how to hustle in New York City, which is filled with hustlers. But the cost alone is going to cripple the city of New York. This is not fair. We have veterans sleeping in the streets. We have predominantly African-American men and women who are emotionally disturbed, who have alcohol, drug problems, who live in the streets, some of them veterans. And this African-American mayor, Eric Adams, would not have beaten me if it hadn't been for the sizable turnout of African-American voters. Now, basically, he's told his peeps, screw you, to the back of the line. We got to make room for Pedro and Miguel, because in the future, I'm going to be El Presidente. I'm going to ride to the White House, Pennsylvania Avenue with the black vote and the Latino vote. And as I say to everyone in New York City who's ever been a mayor, friend or foe, it's the end of the line. You never get to be president. You crash and burn. And I've told Eric Adams publicly, over my dead body. And that's why I've become the leader of this movement, to block the immigrants, block the tents, block the shelters, and send them back to where they came from so they could start the process all over again legally.
Yeah, you know, guys like you or people like me in the media that talk about it, we're not saying we don't want people. We're saying do it right. And New York City is the do it right place. There's a Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island. My grandfathers came over. I mean, that's what you do. You do it right. And if I were a immigrant that did it right, I'd be a little pissed off here. Because word on the street, these guys are getting $2,400 a month. They're staying at the Roosevelt, as you said. They're getting 3 squares. They're getting a hell of a lot more than a lot of, as you mentioned, African-American, military folks, white people, Hispanic, homeless people that are United States citizens that aren't getting jack squat.
Yeah, but I've carved an exemption. I literally said, if they come with skill levels, and as you know, the Mets and Yankees suck. And one thing the Venezuelans do well is they play baseball. They know baseball. So we should set up tryout camps. We got enough parks. You got enough Yankee and Met scouts, and just do tryouts. And then for all those folks who love soccer, kickball, that fake, phony, fraudulent football they spell with a U. I love American smash mouth football. But our American international teams suck. So the North Africans, they come with skill. They can dribble, man. They're playing with a soccer ball in the middle of the street. do tryouts for them. And if they got what it takes to get us to be number one, second to none, I say give them the easy pass. Give them instant citizenship. The rest, pack their bags and get out of here. You see, I'm open-minded. You can't say that I'm a xenophobe. If they got skill levels, we need them. Baseball and soccer.
Mets and Yankees, because they do both suck. High expectations and they suck. Hey, I want to go back to something. I have a fear. You know, when you get old enough, you can tell your fears, right? When you're a kid, you don't anybody think you're afraid of. I have a fear of going to jail. You've been booked 80 times or something like that. What is it like? What happens? I saw a video of you the other day, you and the octogenarians being, carted away. So you mentioned they get, but what happens? Have you ever stayed, 10 days, 3 months? What's the longest?
Let me tell you something. If you and I were cellmates, like the old movie with Sidney Poitier and Tony Curtis, where we're shackled at the ankles, you would be my Maytag. You would be starching my BVDs in Fruit of the Loom. I'd give you my toothbrush. You'd have to clean my Nikes. That's what it would be like. There's only one guy who rules an 8x4-foot cell. And I've been there before. The first 13 years, when I started the Guardian Angels, the cops here hated me. They gave me wooden shampoos, concrete facials. They stuck me and lost my paperwork for days. I was on the infamous Rikers Island. They had me in the Bing. They had me in PC, protective custody, Punk City. They had me in general population. They had me in dormitories. Feet don't fail me now. A guy would look at me the wrong way. He'd fornicate me, mad dog me. Bam! Down he goes. They said, man, don't mess with that crazy white boy. This guy's insane in the brain. You have to do that. So I've been locked up before on really serious charges. Probably the first. Detroit House of Contention, D-Hawk, they called it. Man, let me tell you something. I was the only white boy. Eminem would never even think of being in D-Hawk. In there, they gave me defecation education. So I'm in a cell. The authorities were told, make sure nothing happens to this guy because we don't need grief. So every day the inmates would pass by and go, hey, Guardian Angel, come out and play. Come out and play. I said, I would if I could. And they would take pails of feces that they had just dumped into and throw it on me. I felt like I was in long cash, with the IRA, Bobby Sands and the others who were smeared with their own feces. Man, let me tell you something. Defecation education is a real learning experience. It should be required on every college application that you've had that in your 4-year run before you decide to go for your master's degree and PhD. Did you have the course defecation education?
You just said I'd be your little batch in prison. I don't like that. I just asked you how it was. I didn't know I was going to be reading your Nikes and shining your shoes. I didn't know that. Shoot.
Hey,
I guess.
They considered me a high-profile prisoner. They put me in the Jesse James cell. Look it up. They've destroyed D-Hawk since Detroit House of Correction. But they had a cell. They told everybody, Jesse James, the bank robber, when he was robbing banks with his crew up in Michigan, did a little time there. I was honored to be in the jail cell that had been baptized by Jesse James. Hey, it doesn't get any better than that. I was keeping it real. I told the brothers, I'm keeping it real. I'm carrying on the legacy of Jesse James. And they said, shut the fuck up, white boy. We own you. I said, nobody owns me.
All right, let me go to something. Retail business in New York City. Here's what I see on Twitter and all that. I'm going to give you two things. One, businesses are closing. It's awful. I just had my daughter went there, and she's like, Dad, I don't know. I rode the subway. Everything seemed great. What's real in New York right now?
You plan on doing Christmas shopping this year?
I do.
Come to New York, you won't have to pay for anything. You just walk in the stores. You just say, I'm here not to shoot and loot. just to loot. Give me the swag bag, and you can fill up duffel bags, hefty trash bags, take whatever you want. No tax, no sales tax. This is better than when you go to the airport, right? No duty tax. Hey, no tax. You just walk out and say, hey, I'll be back tomorrow. Just make sure they haven't stolen everything, Dakich. I mean, shoplifting, boosting, and no consequences. No consequences. You walk into some of these stores like Walgreens or CVS, empty. They had a guy go in with an acetylene torch the other day because they now have them behind glass encased mausoleums. You know, they're in a crypt. It takes like 52 keys. You got to turn the turnstile. It's like, you know, opening up a safe. He came in with an acetylene torch with a mask on and blew out and then took everything and said, like MC Hammer, you can't touch me. And the cops didn't come, and the guy was styling and profiling down the street. People watched that. They felt impotent, and it's just going to lead to more and more theft. Eric Adams, swagger man with no plan, says, hey, we just had a task force together. We made a list of the shoplifters, and we checked it twice. Well, what are you going to do about it? We're just going to share the information. It's not like a casino where if you count cars, which I think is legal, you know, they bag and tag you and you're banned from every casino. Even on the Indian reservations, they share that information. What do they do with that information? They pack it up like pack rats that they are, bureaucrats, and they say we're doing something about shoplifting. And you see store after store, like in San Francisco, closing up. They're out of business. And if you don't protect retail, you lose the city. You lose the city. We can't survive.
Hope you win. Hope you win. Hope you win. And I hope you'll come back, Curtis. Thanks for delivering. I knew you'd deliver the goods. I knew you would.
Let me ask you a question, though. How about my method? Because this goes nationally for shoplifters. Just hand out autographed Rocky Colavito baseball bats. Naturally, not aluminum. We want them to get the wood splinters. When I'm hitting them over and over and over, I'll break your leg, break your arm, put a cast on you. So when you walk out in the street, everybody knows you'll never shoplift again. Don't go in that store. The Mutts and Skells say, man, don't go in there because they're going to give you a good old-fashioned Rocky Colavito baseball bat beatdown, courtesy of the vigilante of America, Curtis Sliwa.
You're the best. Appreciate you for coming on. Great stuff. That's Curtis Sliwa. Look, I love the man. He's not wrong. It's like the movie Bronx Tale. Now yous can't leave. Now yous can't leave. And they beat the living crap out of the biker bar, and those guys slithered away in pain. It's the greatest movie scene, other than maybe Rounders, where KGB says, paid the man his monies. No, now yous can't leave. I've said this forever. Entrance to the store, an office here, there's two dudes, big old football dudes drinking coffee, eating donuts. Office over here, right at the entrance, two more. Hey, we got a shoplifter. We close the door. The two big dudes got the Rocky Colavito bat. They beat the living crap out of whoever shoplifted, or maybe they get the crap beat out of them. But you got all these ex-football players, all these MMA guys that are absolutely in on this. They will do this, and that's what I'm at. I thank Curtis Sliwa for joining us. I appreciate it. Dan, if workers are a citizen hurt shoplifters, they go to jail. Curtis Sliwa was awesome. Hey, my wife works at Atlanta here in the mall. Somebody comes in and starts stealing, which has happened. They're not allowed to say anything, and it isn't because they'll go to jail. The mall, Atlanta, is afraid to be called racist. The world is insane, man. The world is insane. All right, I got a lot of sports to get to. Curtis was fantastic, and I hope he will come back. He's one of my heroes. You know, we will always defend our people. I'm going to get into some of this stuff. All right, we will always defend our people. And one of our people is Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines is fighting for women. She's become a national phenomenon. And some senator from Nebraska went at Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines, you don't go after Riley Gaines. You never go after Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines will make you feel bad. Riley Gaines will make you feel bad about themselves. There's some nondescript senator named Megan Hunt. Megan Hunt. Well, somebody called Mike. Never mind. But Megan Hunt and Riley Gaines, through Megan Hunt, went at one another. I think we have the Twitter exchange right here. I want to show you this. Look at this. Riley Gaines, former All-American swimmer, spoke to more than 1,000 people in Nebraska about keeping transgender women out of women's sports. So this lesbian woman, which is fine, you want to be a lesbian, I know I got to say that. Megan Hunt, they, them, thee, they, whatever. It can be hard when you're young to not win a trophy sometimes, but we grow up and realize it's not the end of the world. We don't need to turn that loss into our entire personality. Well, Riley Gaines isn't having it. Riley Gaines is back in business. Let's show what Riley said. I'd actually love to hear how I'm profiting. Do you idiots think you get paid for doing interviews and constantly receiving threats to myself and my family considered profit? Is that considered profit? You're an all-knowing genius who talks a big game, so tell me specifically how I have profited. It continued. I think it continued. I'm sure it continued. Imagine missing the point this much. It's not about a trophy, and it never has been. The trophy is meaningless and devalued entirely. It's about the message it sends to us, and it's the same message you're sending, that we don't matter. Nebraska girls deserve better. Boy, is that good. See, Riley Gaines has never said that she doesn't want transgender women or men. Riley Gaines has never said that. I've never said that. What we have said is women deserve to compete against women. Women deserve to have their own locker rooms. Women competing should not have to compete against a male with his entire genitalia intact. Seems reasonable to me. Women should not have to be in a locker room with men whose entire genitalia is intact. That's all Riley Gaines is saying. Riley Gaines has never said, not one time ever, that I don't want transgender people in this world. But that is the default hate speech that the transgender, the LGBTQ uses. They spin the narrative. They make it into you're hating. No one's hating. Just simply saying women deserve to compete against women and women deserve their own spaces. It has been her consistent message, my consistent message the entire time. But you can't have that because that does not mean anything. That does not get clout. That does not get clout. Clout comes when you get everybody on your side. Clout comes when you get everybody to say, yeah, see, you're a hater. I'm just saying. Megan Hunt is an idiot. But you know what? Not one human being alive knew who Megan Hunt is. She calls herself a bi queen. She, her. Oh, okay. All right. Megan Hunt is the latest example of the hatefulness of the far left. Just is. And if you don't believe it, you haven't paid attention. Come at me, come at men, don't come at Riley Gaines. She'll crush you. She will crush your soul. And Riley Gaines crushed the soul of some little chubby me, I, they, them, queen. I'm a bi queen, blah, 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 from the great state of Nebraska. And this woman does exactly like you think she would look. She's a state senator in Nebraska. She's a bigot. Good for Riley Gaines. Don't stop, girl. We'll be right back.
GOP presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy thinks that all voters should be able to pass a civics test, so I'm here on Broadway to see how we're doing. Can you name 3 cabinet positions?
Oh, Secretary of State.
Yep.
Secretary of Labor.
Yep.
And we'll go the Secretary of Education.
Correct. What is the capital of Tennessee?
That one. I have no idea. Tallahassee. No, that's Florida. That's Florida. Tennessee. Yeah. No. Do you know the capital of Tennessee? What the hell? These people don't even like me.
All right, I'll give you a hint. You're standing in it. It's Nashville, guys! How many years do we elect a senator for?
4.
6. What about a congressman?
That's 4.
2.
It's just a trick question. So.
Before he was president, Eisenhower was a general in what war?
World War II. He commanded Operation Overlord and D-Day invasion.
Correct. When was the Constitution written?
1865.
Before that.
1854.
Before that.
1818.
Before that.
1777.
After that.
1789.
Before that.
1784.
After that.
1785.
After that.
1786.
After that.
1777.
After that. You were so close.
1778.
No.
Kanye West, Kanye 2024, big time. I wrote him in West Virginia, put him on the ballot.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? So proudly we hail, so.
Hey, welcome back. What a great show we've had today. If you heard a little noise in the background, I got a mosquito company spraying, and I can smell it in here. That guy slung the caca. Look, hey, Eminem is crabby. Eminem is crabby with Vivek Ramaswamy, who we affectionately refer to as our guy. Because he rapped his lyrics. So the sensitive one, the legend, the fake tough guy, all-time rapper, and one of my favorites, Eminem, is mad about it, sent a cease and desist order to Ramaswamy and his camp. Don't say that. You can't sing my song. And by the way, Vivek Ramaswamy did one hell of a job rapping it. We can't show it because there are copyright infringements. But man, oh man, it's awesome. It is. He did a great job. The question on the YouTube chat is, and I don't understand this, the question is being asked, what are the worst facets, I don't know if that's the right English or not, about Make America Great Again? I don't know. I mean, isn't that a good thing? I think that's a good thing if we want to make America great again, because right now America feels like it's not great. It may be. It's still the greatest country in the history of the world, run by the dumbest human being and the worst president to ever run it. But that's okay. It's still a great country. So I guess, I don't know. I guess you're going to have to tell me. But the truth of the matter is, that's the question on the YouTube chat. You've always got to get to the YouTube chat. You know what? You Colts fans, Michael Strawn was waived. He had an injury late. He was another one of these, oh my God, he's great guys, that Chris Ballard drafted. He caught 5 passes, 85 yards over 2 seasons. All right, cut down day to day. I want to get into some Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor and a lot of people in NFL media are both saying, or at least trying to say, that there is a deadline. There's a cut down, 53 men today. What's going to happen with Jonathan Taylor? I honestly don't know. I personally would say, Jonathan, I'm going to do this for you. I'm Jimmy Irsay. I'm going to give you a 4-year, $50 million deal. That's over $12 million a year. It's a pretty good deal. If you don't want to take it, we'll put you on PUP. You can make your salary, you can be on PUP, and you can sit there and you can watch. I'm not going 5 years, $60 million, but I will go 4 years, $50 million for you. And if I'm Jonathan Taylor, I would take that today, tomorrow, and the next day. I would take it and I would run like a scared dog. I would run so damn fast my head would spin. I would. It's what I would do. Now, there is no deadline. People can report a deadline. There certainly is a deadline on cuts today. There certainly is that. Don't get me wrong. We know that. But the fact of the matter is this. Money talks, bullshit walks. And if they come with that kind of number, Jonathan Taylor should sign it. I think he will sign it. Unless, and I say this all the time, unless there is something in the background, unless there is something there that precludes Jonathan Taylor and the Colts from liking one another. And it's as simple as that. Does Jonathan Taylor have something going on that he does not like about the Indianapolis Colts? If he does, then he won't sign it. If he doesn't, then he should sign that. That's fair market value, and it is not going to change in the next 3 to 4 years. And if you can't live off 50 or 60 million, I can't help you. Particularly when every media guy in the country tells me how brilliant you are. Remember, he could get into Harvard. But that's what I would do if I were the Colts. Period. Now, you're going to see guys cut today, and you're going to say, well, our team should pick him up. Be careful with that. Be careful with that. Back in the day in Indianapolis, when they were, quote, building this roster, our local media said things like, well, there's going to be a lot of guys that are cut, taken by other teams. That's the sign of a good team. Well, Colts haven't had a guy taken outside of a kicker in 2 years. In 2 years. All right. There's a guy named Noah Lyles. Noah Lyles is an interesting guy. Noah Lyles is a guy that I think you guys should listen to. And I'm going to play some Noah. Oh, man. Noah Lyles. He's a track guy. Track guys are starting to get mouthy. I'm not mad at it. Track guy, the fastest man in the world at the moment, caused a stir. He was speaking to reporters about being a world champion. He a world champion of what? The United States? Go get me wrong. I love the United States at time, but that ain't the world. He did, however, win the world championships, becoming the first man to double. We are the world. We have almost every country out here fighting. He's talking about track and field. He was talking about the NBA and the other one. He said, what are you talking about? The NBA world champions of what? The United States? Don't get me wrong. Let's hear from Noah Lyles.
World champion of what? The United States? You know, the thing that hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA finals and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what? The United States?
Noah Lyles is awesome. And the dumbasses that always speak out in their dumbass tones in the NBA, like four-time champ Draymond Green, said when being smart goes wrong. Well, he ain't wrong. He's not wrong. Aaron Gordon, who now we have to listen to, whatever I'm smoking, buddy, in the 200-meter. All right. Okay. The organization, the NBA, have players from different countries, but do they compete against different countries? We have to go against the world in order to be a world champion. It's true. I've always thought it was ridiculous that the NBA calls themselves world champions. Like, it used to be that, all right, maybe because the world wasn't any good, now the world's good. We're not. We got entitled little babies playing basketball. We got Draymond Green as a star, can't make a basket from 3 feet, and he's a 4-time world champion. Noah ain't wrong, baby. Noah is 1,000% right. Sheree Richardson, 1,000% right. They got to beat the world. Hey, you win the FIBA World Cup, you're world champs. You win the NBA title, you're United States champs. But these idiots in the NBA, they don't have anything to say because they can't, because they're stupid. Look, that 2-year half-ass education at Michigan State, America's dumbest college, did not make Draymond Green a philosopher, for crying out loud. But this guy, Noah Lyles, he's 100% right. I've always thought that to be funny. I love what he did. I do. All right, we got a record setter. Yeah, we do. We got a record setter. We got an 800-pound alligator. I said it, 800-pound alligator. 800 pounds. Look at this thing. Can you imagine? Look at the jaws on that thing. Lula, your ass would be eaten. My ass would be eaten. I couldn't imagine. It's in Mississippi. Of course it's in Mississippi. Where else would it be but Mississippi? Yeah, it's in Mississippi. It's an 800-pound alligator, for crying out loud. We've seen this before in Chicago. About a year ago, there was a lady doing a shot right on Rush Street, and some guy waved a gun. Some pants down his ass, wife-beater T-shirt, wearing gangbanger, flashes a gun at a lady doing a news hit. Well, now it even got worse. Listen to this. An armed robbery problem has become so bad in Chicago that robbers this morning, well, at least let me just go this. So bad. Armed robbery this morning in Chicago, yesterday morning. Robbed the news crew doing a story on the armed robbery. How about this development? 30 people were robbed or carjacked during sprees between Sunday afternoon and Monday morning. Wait a second. I thought we weren't supposed to rob between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. What the hell's wrong with people? What? Sunday afternoon? People going to church. That's what I always hear. I got to go to church. Okay. Everybody goes to church. Yeah, okay. But anyway, what are we doing here? We weren't supposed to rape and rob and shooting. What? I guess they didn't get it. I guess they didn't see it. So anyway, a news team got robbed while reporting on a spree of armed robbery. That's the greatest thing ever. That's the absolute greatest thing ever. Thieves took some stuff off the news crew. It's not even safe to be Channel 5 News. It's not even safe to be Harry Volkman. Not even fake to be John Drury. What are we doing in this city? What the hell's going on here? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Oh, by the way, teams have kicker problems. Not the Colts, because the Colts, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, man. They gave like $1 million to some kicker. All right? The Cowboys are going with an ex-soccer player, Brandon Aubrey, after last postseason's candidate debacle. Aubrey played soccer in college. He made it to the MLS as a first-round draft pick. He completed the transformation of football by locking down the kicking job with the USFL Birmingham Stallions. Now, he is going to be kicking, ladies and gentlemen, for the Cowboys, for America's team. That's right. That's how bad kicking is. Look, sign Luke Pollock. Luke Pollock just won the kicking job at the University of Toledo. I've known Luke Pollock and his mom and his dad ever since Luke was that tall, and it was Lee's best friend. So whenever I started hanging around with Lee, I met Barb and Tony and Luke. That's not Luke, but that's the new kicker. So this guy is a soccer player turned kicker, and kickers are important. I'll tell you this. A few years ago, when Adam Vinatieri was on his last leg with the Colts started out 5-2. Should have been 7-0 if Vinatieri had made some fairly simple kicks, certainly kicks that Adam Vinatieri can make. But the truth of the matter is, kickers matter. You know when kickers matter? When you need them the most. Serious business. When you need kickers the most, that's when they matter. And isn't that important enough to get a good one? Seriously. Oh, man, he's going to make or he's going to miss. Here's what I say about kickers. Same thing as free throws. Free throws matter when you need them most. Kickers matter when, here's the difference, if he makes it, the crowd's going to go insane. People are going to rush the field. We're all going to get extensions. Coach is going to get a bonus. If he misses, crowd's going to go silent. Coach is going to get probably fired sooner than later. And we got a serious problem on our hands keeping our team focused. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the importance of kickers. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why I have never had a problem with drafting a kicker early. You know, one time I was making fun of punters. And I was making fun of the fact that the Colts, and this is when McAfee was punting, the Colts didn't have any playmakers. McAfee texts me, goes, what are you talking about? He goes, I flipped the field 80 yards. Isn't that a playmaker? I started thinking about it. I went to the beard. Because what happens when I'm doing some serious thinking is I go to the beard. It's Einsteinian. I went to the beard and I thought, you know what, McAfee? You're 1,000% correct. If you flip the field 80 yards, guess what? You are a playmaker. If you kick a game winner, you are a playmaker. I'm all in on it. I am. All right, let's go back to early today. Donald Trump, his court date is March 4th. Super Tuesday is March 5th. This is actually unbelievable. I may be the only human being alive that thinks there's no way Donald Trump can be president. He's got like 41 felony counts or 41 charges. There's no way this guy can be president. But then I think about Burgess Owens coming on the show yesterday, and what did he say? He goes, yeah, I ain't worried about it. I go, you what? I ain't worried about it. Okay. Hell, if you ain't worried about it, I ain't worried about it because you know a whole lot more about it than me. But I'm sitting there thinking, man, you talk about a dude who the deck is stacked against. And speaking of Donald Trump, I did want to get into this. There was a debate yesterday, and it is no debate. There was a debate yesterday on hottest first ladies ever. I'm going to tell you, it's like Melania Trump is here and everybody else is somewhere else. Now, I understand Vanity Fair and Esquire and Cosmo, they had to put Big Mike, a.k.a. Michelle Obama, because of her great arms, on the cover of every magazine. I get that. But Big Mike doesn't come close to Melania Trump. There's actually no debate. Some guy argued that Laura Bush was kind of hot back in the day, and she might have been. In all measures of fairness, let's talk about the best looking presidents. I'm going to say that President Reagan. He had the hair, the square jaw. But this woman right here is the hottest first lady ever. This might be one of the 5 hottest women in the history of the world. But you couldn't put her on Vanity Fair because people would get mad. She only speaks like 8 languages. She's only raised great kids. I don't know what to tell you, but she's brilliant. Yeah, she posed naked a little bit, but so what? I say it all the time. If I was built like a brick blank house and had my package, I'd be naked walking around everywhere. You'd never get me with clothes on. It's one of the hottest women ever right here. I want more Melania Trump. Now, again, people say Jackie O. That's fine. Classic beauty, 60s. I get it. That's cool. Inside Dan's brain. Ryan, you're back. Keep them coming. They say that George W. Bush's wife, Laura, was really hot in the day. I'm sure because that dude used to go on benders. He wasn't just sitting around waiting for a political librarian. He wasn't. If we're going to go hottest men, Bill Clinton, I mean, he can get it done with 20-something-year-old interns when he's like 60 in the White House. God bless him. But I got to tell you, this woman stirs my loins. Are you saying Barbara Bush? Get out of here, people. There is nobody that can compare. Somebody actually told me this. I remembered. I can't remember who the guy was. We were talking, this is back when Bill Clinton first burst on the scene, stooping everything from like whomever to whomever, right? And a friend of mine, and I cannot remember who it was. I can remember being there, and I can remember the guy saying it, said, oh, Bill Clinton, he's the one with the hot wife. No. Bite your face off for saying that. Hey, I got breaking news. Ready? Apparently the LIV Tour and the PGA Tour are going to, at least for the Ryder Cup, live in harmony because Brooks Koepka, the PGA champ, has just been named by Zach Johnson, who, by the way, has me blocked on Twitter because he's a dumbass Iowa fan. Zach Johnson and Justin Thomas have been named, along with Ricky Fowler, to the Ryder Cup team. So that's big news, right? That's really big news, and it's got to blank everybody off, but everybody seems to like Brooks Koepka. Like, Brooks Koepka is the kind of guy that you kind of want to be like. He wears the white pants. He's got the hot wife who seems to be settled down a little bit. He competes like crazy. He doesn't seem to bother a lot of people. He'll go out and have a good time. Justin Thomas makes my ass tired. I wouldn't put Justin Thomas on the team. First, he's not been very good. Second, he just seems to be an exhausting guy. He's like the personification. He's the modern-day Davis Love Jr., the modern-day golf guy. Raised by daddy, all this stuff on the court. I don't know. It gives me gas. It does. And I don't need any more gas. But anyway, oh man, Helen Taft is hot. Send me who you think. I'm going to look up old Helen Taft. First off, if your name is Helen, I think you're hot as hell. I think you're a beautiful woman. Helen or Gretchen. My all-time crush growing up was Gretchen Wellman. I could never talk to her. It's the way I roll. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get woke-a-dopey here. The world is insane, and we are here for it. We have a big crowd today. I thank all of you. Our show just continues to grow. It really does. And once we get on the different Fox channels, it's going to be insanity. There'll be people lined up outside. Panties will be thrown at the window, just like when I was back being a player at Indiana. Woke and dope me, baby. What do you got? Want to have some fun? Oh, geez. That's pretty good. Want to have some fun? Go to Starbucks and order. And when they ask you your name, say Trump. They'll be forced to yell out Trump, and everyone in the store will start crying. I did it this morning, and it was awesome. My dad, true story, whenever we went to a restaurant and you had to put in your name, which was like twice, my dad would put in Mantle, M. Mantle. His idol was Mickey Mantle. And if they asked his full name, he would say Mickey Mantle. So that when they announced Mickey Mantle, party of four, everybody would look. And we would go marching in. I kind of dug it. We did it at Win Schuler's. If you know what Win Schuler's is, it's a great cheese restaurant, I guess, in Michigan. I remember being a little batch, not wanting to drive that far. But when we got there, the cheese was good, the crackers were good, the dinner was good. And my dad put in M. Mantle. Yeah, put in Trump. D. Trump. They'll start, literally, there'll be gnashing of teeth, bawling. People will be insane. Hey, how about this? Jacob Moran just taken into custody for killing his own father in Greenwood, Indiana. What the hell? Hey, Ryan, I'm going to see how good you are. If you're really good, you'll get a picture of Helen Taft up before the end of the show. All right, woke and dope me next. Cappuccino, D. Trump. Cappuccino. Oh, yeah. Housing market's a mother. I like it. Because I ain't looking to buy. I'm just looking to sell. Yeah. You know what? See that house right there? I spent about 2 hours Christmas Eve putting one of them bad boys together. I don't think it was that one, but it looked like that one. The housing market right now, Joe Biden's got inflation. Next thing you know, inflation will be back. Everything's going to go back to where Jimmy Carter was in the late 70s with these clowns. I don't know. What I do know is this. I'm not buying. I'm selling. So I'm happy with the housing market. And I'm not even selling. They're going to have to do this. They're going to have to pry my dead body out of the house that I live in. Particularly when I stop paying the rent. When I'm like, hey, wait a second here. Hey, did you see this? I don't know if it was Fox or somebody called that Asian dude that shot up North Carolina, mostly white Asian male. That's weird. All right, what's next? We win, they lose. They win, we lose. Boy, is that true. Does Biden have a foreign policy other than we're going to give as much money as possible to the Ukraine? Now, see, if somebody were going to say to me, all right, if somebody were going to say to me, here's the deal. We, ladies and gentlemen, are going to pay Ukraine hundreds of billions of dollars. I would say to you, the only reason you do that is because, well, quite frankly, you're paying back some type of debt or some type of bribe. That's what I would say. You may not say that. That's what I would say. And that's certainly what seems to be happening here. Hey, David Hookstead has a new story up, and it's interesting. College Game Day announced a new theme song. And they announced new theme song singers after splitting from Big and Rich's hit song, Coming to Your City. When I heard Coming to Your City, I literally thought of Game Day. John Rich is a conservative. John Rich is not what ESPN wants to align itself. I guarantee you, I'll bet you money that that's the reason behind it. I'll bet you money that they go diverse. I'll bet you money. John Rich, being a supporter of Trump, being a supporter of the conservative movement, I'll bet you money that's what happens. I'll also bet you money, but I need odds, that Darius Rucker becomes the new guy. Is this the funniest stuff ever? Are we the most ridiculous right now we've ever been? I think we were more ridiculous a couple years ago. I do. I'm going to repost an article that was written about me about a woman that said I debased her and was violent towards her because I said no to going swimming in a pool. I said no, but I was violent towards her. Looking back, it's pretty funny. Look, oh, there she is. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. There's the great woman. Oh, yeah. Can you put her side by side by Big Mike, or can you put her side by side by Melania Trump? I mean, oh my God, were you right, Cashman? By the way, the Cashman wins. He's been rolling. It's not a gambling site, it's a gambling information. He does the metrics for you. If you're going to gamble, you go to DraftKings. You download DraftKings right now. Oh, baby. I'm telling you, she makes things a little tingly. As the George said, I think it moved. She does. She makes it a little tingly for me. I'm just saying, but oh, Helen Taft, I tell you what, you get in a tight 9 with Helen Taft, and you got some action going on there. No wonder William Henry Taft was tired all the time. He had to make sure that beauty was taken care of. Yeah. Boy, I tell you what, Cashman, you're pretty smart. You know stuff. You really do. I wouldn't have known first. I would not have known Helen Taft's name, but I'm glad I did. Second, the guy in the middle, those of you that are Indiana fans, my dear friend who passed away, Bob Hebenstreet, a.k.a. Hebe, always looked like Howard Taft. In fact, we would call him Howard Taft when we weren't calling him Hebe. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh, man. What a great YouTube chat we had today. Seriously. Craig Matthews, nice line. I'll give you a solid line here, Craig Matthews. Big and rich. That's probably what women want in a man. Yeah? Yeah. All right. I get it. What else we got? Otter Creek, Dual Equinox, King Nuts, Lick, Jason B., Sean Black. Of course, Sean Black, you stud. John M., Kurt Gurrell. Kurt Gurrell is always mad. Kurt Gurrell gets different Twitter handles. Kurt Gurrell's always mad at me. He's one of those guys that's just crabby. All right, good for you, man. Kevin Wolf, Dual_Equinox, Lick. Go get him. Mr. Flintstone, Rudy-JPG. Thanks for being here, guys, gals. Appreciate you very, very much. Nick 2, Dylan, great work. Ryan, love it. Aaron, Gary, Clay, Katie. We were going to have Sage Steele tomorrow, but she has a conflict. She's going to do Fox News. They have a car coming for her. So we're going to do Sage. We're going to have Sage on Thursday at 10 a.m. I was texting with her earlier today. It is a beautiful day here in Indianapolis. Cut day ends at 4 o'clock. That is not a Jonathan Taylor deadline. They may do something, and they have to do something with Jonathan Taylor, but that is not a signing or a trading deadline. Don't think for a second that it is. I hope everybody has a great day. Enjoy this beautiful day that God has given us. Dakich out. See you tomorrow for What the Hell Wednesday.